Coming up on this program, we show you how to get connected. Find out how to choose an internet service provider. Discover the newest form of communication, electronic mail.
Ways down and ready to ride. One by one, billion by billion, and holding up half the sky. Raise your hand if you're ready and willing. If you know it's time. Time for a girl on time. Time for a girl on time. Time for a
Hello, everybody. I hope everybody's doing well today. I'm having green screen issues, and I forgot to roll a joint, which is a terrible issue. I'm gonna have to remedy it. I also don't have a lighter. Maybe you don't care, maybe you care. I don't know. Hi, Vicky. I just made a large batch of enchiladas to have for dinner tonight. I want to eat them now. I bought the wrong kind of tortillas. I bought corn tortillas, but we'll do with what we have. Anyways, sorry, let me drink that. What's funny is that when I was grabbing them thinking they were flour tortillas, I was like, I wonder if you're supposed to use corn tortillas. Maybe you should have grabbed those. And then when I realized they were in fact corn tortillas, I was mad about it. Mad about you, babe. Anyways, we have quite the case to get into today. Something I caught out of Texas. Hello, Mr. Christopher Engelby. My wishes come true to see you. What was I saying? It is going to be amazing, Shane. I made a big, huge batch, and we're going to eat them up. I also got a whole chicken because I'm going to make chicken noodle soup tomorrow. But I'm going to make it with orzo. That's my plan. What is the plan here, though? The plan here is that we're going to watch this case that I got out of Texas. I may have watched part of it before you may have. I don't know. But we are going to get down to it. It's a child custody support case. So as a brief reminder before we get going, in the state of Texas, the Attorney General handles the collection of child support, etc., etc., etc. Ah! Do you have a sunburn, or am I always this hot? I'm always this hot. My green screen is terrible. I'm gonna have to fix it. But thank you so much, Chris. You are amazing. That rocks. What a great start. Okay, let me get this on. That's what she said. That's the wrong video. But this isn't the wrong video. By the way, this is going to be a long one. That's why I made dinner early. Because this is going to be like an hour and a half of court. At least. So, just so you know, Beverly, you've been warned. Everybody raise your hands.
Do each of you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Starting with Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Ms. Escobar.
Yes, ma'am.
And Mr. Costas.
Yes.
Okay, before I involve the AG, I'm going to say a couple things about my court. Mr. Davis, just on the record, I need you to be aware. I think you're already aware. I started this hearing, you weren't here, with Ms. Escobar only as a default. We were going to go forward without you since you weren't here. Somehow I recessed for some more evidence and you showed up. So now we're starting all over. You missed the first part, so I don't think that's fair for me to just do a second part without you knowing what else happens, since now you're here and we are going to deal with you, even if you're late. However, try not to be late any further in any other courts.
Okay.
Because if I had finished the hearing, you would have been defaulted and you'd been stuck with an order. You would have had to appeal it. You would have had to get a lawyer to try to undo it or reopen it or whatever. So yeah, it's important.
Thank you, Judge.
Okay, so you're here, and so now I'm telling you mainly for your benefit, a few things. I've sworn you all in. I need to tell you that I'm an associate judge. I've been appointed to hear cases filed by the Office of the Attorney General, their child support unit. And as an associate court, they don't give us court reporters. I have a digital recorder. This is the official record. So I tell you, so you're mindful of it. Make sure your answers are all verbal, loud enough for the recorder to pick up and the court to hear. No shaking your head or nodding when answering questions. That does not record. And no as you are in a courtroom, I expect yeses and nos, more formal responses that way. The second part of the recording issues, you heard me announce we were live streaming on YouTube. It is a requirement that the courts are open to the public. Since I'm not sitting in a courtroom in Caldwell County today for people to walk in and observe proceedings, we're here on Zoom court. That we are under an open courts requirement under our Constitution. So this started with COVID when everybody couldn't get to courtrooms or courthouses, and so they let us do Zoom court. But the way they made us open courts was by putting it on YouTube and live streaming it so people could log in and see their courts at work, which is their right and it is our obligation. Now that COVID's over, most courts are back in their courtrooms like the old days. However, the child support courts have been allowed to continue on Zoom. It was working for us and people like it. So we're still conducting business this way, or some of us are. And then we're still required to live stream as a way to be open courts. I tell you all that so that you're aware of it and that you don't blurt out your home address, your social security number, your cell number, something that you wouldn't want out there identifying you, because once you say it, can't take it back. So it is important to me that you're aware of it.
Hi, Eric the Great. You will get along just great here if you believe that there are no such things as justice. But the good people part, I beg to differ. We have a group of great community around here, full of good people. But there's lots of people that blame Elon all the time.
And then try not to. I'll try to stop you if I think you're headed that way. But if you say it again, I can't take it back. The YouTube app is authorized.
Also, we love marijuana, so. But, welcome. On that note, I'm gonna roll the joint. Thanks. Keep going, Judge. Give me my warning. This is my YouTube warning.
To record at this time. They are recording. That's not the official record. However, the public's entitled to the live version that is happening here right now, not that recorded version. So I'll try to delete that recording as soon as I can after this hearing's over, or as my duties allow to make sure that recorded hearing is not out there indefinitely for anybody to watch whenever, like TV. No, I try to delete it right away. The last part of the recording issues is do not record. It would be considered in violation of our laws, subject to contempt of court, punishable by a fine and or a jail sentence. So do not record anybody here in the courtroom, the virtual courtroom, or anybody outside observing in. So let me start with you, Mr. Davis. Of all the recording issues you've heard so far, or anything else that you might be aware of, do you have any questions or concerns at this time?
No, ma'am.
And you are agreeing to go forward on Zoom?
Yes, ma'am.
And let me have a follow-up question. Is anybody in the room with you that is trying to give you advice or?
No, it's just my 5-year-old son.
Okay. He's in and out of the room or just in the room?
Yes, he's
5-year-old.
on
Is
the side.
anybody else watching him, or you alone there?
I am alone here, but he's okay.
Okay. Well, as long as it's your judgment call. Is it I don't remember anymore. Is it the child with Miss Escobar, or is it another child?
Yes, ma'am. Another child.
The child of this lawsuit with Miss Escobar?
Not that child.
No, it's another child with
Yes.
somebody else. Okay, well, and if you're in judgment, if something bad comes up, I don't know if he'll understand anything or be hearing it or be traumatized by anything that comes up in this court. I hope
Yeah,
not, but be aware of that. Sometimes people talk about things that children shouldn't hear in family courts. So I just want to be mindful of that and try to tell you the right thing, or that if is somebody taking over or not? Or you said, what do you?
Yeah, no, I'm just making sure that he's
Further away
playing and he's good and he's
he won't be able to hear much of this.
right.
Okay, but no adults in the room?
No adults in the room.
Okay, Ms. Escobar, you heard the recording issues earlier and again now. Do you have any questions or concerns?
No, ma'am.
And you still consent to go forward by Zoom?
Yes, ma'am.
And nobody's in the room with you, any adults or children?
No, ma'am.
Okay, then, Mr. Asif, I'm gonna have you, go ahead and announce yourself and give me I guess, a new opening statement and new evidence. I'm gonna treat it as a brand new case and I might remember things, but, you tell me what you need me to know. So I need Mr. Davis to hear what he didn't hear the first time around.
Yes, Your Honor. This is Assistant Attorney General Mazasi for the Office of the Attorney General, the Office of the Texas Attorney General. And we're here today on the state's petition to establish the parent-child relationship. So first thing, I'm pleased to announce that we do have an agreement on paternity. Paternity is not being contested. Parties are in agreement that Mr. Davis is the father of Keanu Ray Escobar. We do have disputes on all of the other issues. On the issue of conservatorship,
Keanu Ray Escobar. Yeah, wellness check on Eric, please. Wellness check on Eric. But you know what, Eric? I mean, whatever. It's fine. I'm nonplussed. I'm nonplussed. MB is here, and yay, guys, we have a fucking agreement on paternity. Also, Eric, you're gonna have a lot more fun around here if you just make fun of the people on the screen and like not worry about larger world events, because while we could do one of those nights, it's just a little easier to focus on, you know, not the end of the world.
Mr. Davis has requested a joint managing conservatorship with a geographic restriction.
Oh, key point. I'm not American, so I care even less. It's not that I don't care, but I care a little less. But so like I'm Canadian, so yeah, take that as you may as well. All right, let's go. I can't keep stopping it all the time. Also, placenta. Eat that. Some people do. Anyways, okay, enough of that. It's okay, you guys, just let him be.
To this of the state of Texas. Ms. Escobar is requesting a sole managing conservatorship with a geographic restriction on her to the United States. Regarding the issue of visitation, Mr. Davis has requested the standard possession access order. Ms. Escobar has requested an initial schedule of 6 initial visits that would occur Monday from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Every other week. She's requested that these visits be supervised, that during these visits, Mr. Davis is forbidden from consuming alcohol or any illegal drugs during or 24 hours prior to a visit. And she's requested that she drop the child off at his residence.
Also, guys, just so you know, YouTube has a really cool function built in where you personally can block anybody you want. So if you don't want to see what somebody's writing, you can go ahead and block them. And then your life is like amazing, back to the way it was. As I know it shows up on here, but don't worry. It's okay. But yeah. Unlike the judge, you're capable of explaining why California will fall into the ocean. Oh my god! Oh my god! My island already fell into the ocean, Eric. I live on an island. I'm in the ocean already! Ah!
And then pick the child up from his residence at the beginning and the end of each visit. After 6 successful visits, Ms. Escobar is requesting we step up to the standard possession and access order, with the caveat that Mr. Davis is forbidden from, the restriction on Mr. Davis continues that he's forbidden from consuming alcohol or any illegal drugs during or 24 hours prior to a visit. On the issue of child support.
Remind me again, I just heard another case and so my mind's still there. How old is this child again?
I believe 3 years old, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, on the issue of child support, we have a dispute over Mr. Davis's income. Mr. Davis is of the position that he makes $4,000 a month. Ms. Escobar is of the position that allow me to rephrase. Mr. Davis is of the position that his gross monthly resources are $4,000 a month. Ms. Escobar is of the position that Mr. Davis's gross monthly resources are $5,200 a month. There's also a dispute over the additional child credits to be given to Mr. Davis. Mr. Davis is of the position that he has 2 other children. Now it's not disputed that he has 1 other child that he's obligated to pay child support for. Mr. Davis is also of the position that he has another child, his brother, his 14-year-old brother that he has he states that he's been given custody over. So he's requesting the child support credit for 2 children. Ms. Escobar is requesting that he be given the child support credit for 1 child. The guideline support I've calculated, under Ms. Escobar's position comes out to $720 a month. Under Mr. Davis's position, the guideline support I've calculated is $517.42 a month. With payments to begin on, the state's requesting payments begin on February 1st, 2025. On the issue of medical support, Ms. Escobar, parties agree that the child for the time being is to be on a government medical assistance program. The parties are in disagreement over the amount of the cash medical support to be set. Mr. Davis's position is it should be set to $180 a month. That's 4.5% of his position that his gross monthly resources are $4,000 a month. Ms. Escobar is requesting that the cash medical support be set to $234 a month. That would be 4.5% of if based on her position that his gross monthly resources are $5,200 a month. Now, on the issue of
Knows that she doesn't get it as long as it's Medicaid, that you all get it, right?
Yeah, a portion would go to her and a portion to us, Your Honor.
Even if it's government aid, she gets a portion of it? I thought it was all assigned to you, sir.
That was my understanding, but in any case, we would like for cash medical support to be set.
Well, and I get that, but whether it's 234, 180, she's not getting any of that. She knows that, as long as it's government aid, right?
Or
you're not making that statement, even though
I suppose that is the case. No,
I've never heard of anybody getting Medicaid money away from the state, even
I apologize, Your Honor.
returns. So I don't think I'm wrong on that. Okay.
I apologize, Your Honor. I was mistaken.
Okay, thank you.
The state's requesting, in any case, we're requesting cash.
Oh, she looks disappointed about that, doesn't she? Also, yes, I'm eating this tortilla. First of all, I'd like to point out that why are they sweet? There's no sugar. These are made in Austin. But there's no sugar. But they taste sweet to me. No added sugar, I guess. White corn flour. Anyways. Oh, we got a ceiling fan on high cellulite yoga pants. I hope that your old man is good. We got a ceiling fan. Mark your bingo cards. Also, I gotta stop pausing it because... And this is all the food I'm gonna have. 2 tortillas, 100 calories. Can't wait till I get to eat the enchiladas.
Medical support to be set, irrespective of your determination, to be set to 4.5% of whatever the court determines Mr. Davis's gross monthly resources are. Now, on the issue of retroactive support, so the state is requesting, the state and Ms. Escobar were requesting a finding of retroactive support of $13,308.44. We calculate a total figure of $26,416.44, as well as direct pay credits from Mr. Davis to Ms. Escobar, totaling $13,108.
Not 4,500?
No.
For that from the last hearing.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind, ladies and gentlemen, what she just said. He came forward. Remember, I don't know if you missed it, but at the beginning of this hearing, she said, for some reason, I adjourned this hearing before, and the dad wasn't there. Now dad has shown up, and at the last hearing, mom told the judge under oath that he only gave her $4,500 out of $26,000 owed. Now he came forward and he had receipts for $13,000, and judge remembers that. Watch this. Watch when judge says that in the girl's face.
To Ms. Escobar, totaling $13,108.
Not 4,500? Okay,
No,
for that from the last hearing.
Yeah.
no, Your Honor.
Thank you.
So,
Direct payments, $13,108. For which time period are you talking about?
yes, Your Honor, it would be from January of 2022 to January of 2025.
So you're talking about 3 years, 22.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And
So-
Mr. Davis's position on that, I can imagine, but what officially from you, what's your opening with respect to that?
Yes, Your Honor. First, I'd like to clarify the state's position on the retro and Ms. Escobar's position on the retro matter. We would additionally like the balance to be paid off at a rate of $117 a month, with payments to begin on February 1st, 2025. Mr. Davis is of the position that retroactive support should be set to $5,000 to be paid off at a rate of $75 a month, with payments to begin on February 1st, 2025.
Okay.
Neither party is requesting non-disclosure. And finally, on the issue of court costs, the state is requesting a finding of court costs against Mr. Davis, that he pay court costs due 1 year from today. Mr. Davis is in opposition. He is requesting that this court waive court costs against him.
Okay. And that pretty much covers it, I think.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, then the state's going to call witnesses, Mr. Davis, Ms. Escobar. They get to decide in what order. Chances are the CSO goes first, the child support officer, so he can be released to have lunch and have his other duties. And he's already testified once. You've already heard it, Ms. Escobar. And then after that, they get to pick who goes next. What I need y'all to remember or know that if y'all start talking and interrupting and fighting, I'm going to stop it. I will not deal with that. I have to stop it anyway because my record would be a big garbled mess if y'all are talking over each other, and I won't be able to hear both of you at the same time anyway. So there is an orderly process, one at a time. Don't interrupt the other person. When it's your turn, you'll get the same courtesy. So if you have questions, if you want to reply, you have all that, you can get a piece of paper and write it down so that don't forget. So when it's your turn, 20 minutes, an hour later, however long it takes, you'll still know what it is you wanted to say and didn't forget it. But that's on you. But interruptions will not be allowed unless it's a clear, valid legal objection. Okay, Mr. Asif, if you can start.
Yes, Your Honor. I'd like to start by calling Mr. Costas.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Costas, sir, could you please state your name for the record?
Yes, my name is Ed Costas.
Where are you employed?
I'm employed at the Office of the Attorney General of Texas.
What is your title?
My title is Child Support Officer.
How long have you been a child support officer?
I've been a child support officer for a little over 2 years now.
Is it customary in your work to come across information regarding the wages of non-custodial parents?
Yes.
Have you come across such information in this case?
Yes, I have.
Where is Mr. Davis employed?
By the record shown currently, he is employed at Austin Ice House Project 1 LLC.
What time frame does the information you have encompass?
The time frame encompassed is the years 2024, 2023, and 2022.
What are the gross monthly resources for Mr. Davis in the year of 2024?
In the year 2024, the gross monthly income is $5,200 a month.
What are the gross monthly resources of Mr. Davis in the year of 2023?
In the year 2023, the gross monthly income is $5,697.
And what are the gross monthly resources for Mr. Davis in the year of 2022?
In the year 2022, the gross monthly income is $4,175.
Thank you, Mr. Costas. Your Honor, I have no further questions for this witness. I will pass the witness.
Okay, technically, Mr. Davis, Ms. Escobar, y'all are your own representatives. You're acting as your own lawyers and you have the right of cross-examination of any witnesses. So let me start with you, Mr. Davis, on the issue that Mr. Costas testified to regarding your income, your wages, and your employer. Do you have any questions for him on those issues?
No, I guess I don't.
You don't? Okay. Ms. Escobar, same question. Do you have any questions for Mr. Costas?
No, ma'am.
Okay, I know I asked you some questions. I'm trying to look at my notes, Mr. Costas.
Yes,
You had told me 2024
I believe there.
income,
Mhm.
which was it the full year? Was it less than a year that you averaged?
For which year, ma'am?
2024, the most recent one you have.
For 2024, we have the three most recent quarters. We do not have the final quarter in yet for 2024.
So
So
that
it's
would
based
be,
on the first
yeah,
three quarters,
the three
correct?
quarters. And that's because the fourth quarter is October, November, December, and that hasn't been published yet. That doesn't come out till next month, probably.
Correct.
Correct. Okay. And then for 2023, it was the full four quarters, the whole year.
Correct.
And 2022, how many quarters was that?
It was all four quarters, but the first quarter was at a different job, which is identified as Steampunk LLC Saloon.
Okay. And then that's the first quarter. What about the second, third, and fourth quarters would be the current job?
That is correct.
Okay.
Steampunk LLC. That sounds
And
cool.
is it comparable to the 23 or 24, those quarters?
The
of-
first, go ahead.
No, go ahead if you have.
The first quarter of 2022, at the other job, the wages were considerably lower, about a third.
The first quarter, the first with steampunk, right?
Correct.
But the second, third, and fourth quarters, he already moved on to the new place. the
That
ice
is
house.
correct. That is
What did
correct.
those quarters look like? Or just tell me what they are, the actual second quarter, third quarter, and fourth quarter.
You want the actual wages for those quarters?
Sure, the total wages for each quarter.
Okay, for 2022, the second quarter, the wages were 12,634 with 32 cents. Third quarter of 2022 was 15,586 with 51 cents. And the fourth quarter of 2022 was 16,867 with 47 cents.
Okay, so it seems like it got a little bit better as the year went on. And that was 20, right? I'll let you answer that.
Correct.
And then that moved on to 2023. Are those comparable quarters each month, each quarter for the year of 2023?
Yes, for 2023, the first quarter, the wages were 17,229 with 81 cents.
Okay.
Would you like the second, third, and fourth quarters
Sure,
as
may
well?
as well. I just want to know if it keeps going up or if it's stabilized somewhere or what.
In second quarter of 2023, the wages were 17,254 with 92. The
Okay.
third quarter of 2023, it was 17,741 with 71 cents.
Okay.
And then in fourth quarter of 2023, it was $16,110 with 50 cents.
Okay. 23. The 2024 average gross wages went down a little bit from 2023.
Yes, that
So
is
then
correct.
Go ahead and tell me what each quarter yields, I guess, for the three quarters that are reported.
Sure. So for the first quarter of 2024, we have $15,047 with 4 cents.
Okay.
Second quarter of 2024, we have $16,315 with 1 cent. And then the third quarter of 2024, we have $15,985 with 72 cents.
So the income went down a little bit in this year compared to
Correct.
last year.
Correct.
Okay. Then I think that's all you have. That's all you can tell me. Mr. Davis, does that give you any ideas of any other questions you'd want to hear or answers you want to hear from Mr. Costas?
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. And Ms. Escobar, any questions at all for Mr. Costas?
No, ma'am.
Does that raise any other questions for you, Mr. Asif, now that I've done some examination?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, then thank you, sir, for your patience, cooperation twice today, and your excuse.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Why do you have to cough every time, Paisley? So, so he makes pretty good money. Pretty good money. Okay, phone. Chill. Your roll.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to call Ms. Escobar to the stand.
Okay, and she's been sworn.
Ms. Escobar, could you please state your name?
Marissa Renee Escobar.
Could you please state the name of your child?
Keanu Ray Escobar.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Who is the father of your child?
Anthony Levante Davis.
What's your relationship like with him?
No relationship.
What's his relationship like with the child?
No relationship.
Has he ever seen the child?
He has a few times.
And how have those visits gone?
Short, very short. He did interact with him, tried to, but like I said, it was short, so can't really even tell you.
Okay, Ms. Escobar, just so you understand, this is a new hearing, so you are going to have to testify the things you may have already testified to prior. Okay, Ms. Escobar, when was the last time?
AKA spill the tea, bitch. You did it when he wasn't here. You gotta do it to his face. That's what's happening, Marissa. You guys? Shit's about to get real. Or he's basically trying to tell her because she made some allegations last time. Also, I'm sad. This guy's never seen his kid, really? That's really sad. Don't do that. Ladies, don't do that. That is such not a flex. I'll tell you that right now. That's like an opposite flex. It's a... See, a smarter person than me would know what the... What's the opposite of a flex? I mean the motion, you know what I mean? Like what would a flex... A flop? I don't know. Somebody figure it out.
Mr. Davis saw the child.
It was back in November. I'm not sure what date. We agreed to meet up in a public area so he could see him, possibly take him home and spend, time with him. And I agreed to it until my son was crying and he did not want to stay with him. So I went ahead and I brought him back home.
Thank you, ma'am. Now, did I mischaracterize any of your positions in my opening statement?
No.
Okay. Can you please explain to the court why you're requesting a sole managing conservatorship?
I've dealt with all his medical history, all his dental, all his doctor's visits. I've done that since he was born by myself, and I continue to do it, and I would like to continue to do it. He's never bothered to ask about his health. He's just never asked in general about anything. So,
Has he been involved in childcare or any parental responsibilities?
no, sir.
Okay, ma'am. You've also now, can you please explain to the court why you're requesting a geographic restriction to encompass the entirety of the United States?
I travel, especially like Mexico. I go out to Mexico. I actually been out there with Keanu and Anthony. He knew about it. He didn't say nothing about it. But I would like to continue to take him wherever I go. He should be able
Okay.
to go.
Did you need to clarify that, Ms. Josie, for my misunderstanding what she's answering?
I'll ask a clarification question. Ms. Escobar, you understand the geographic restriction means
To only stay
within
Texas.
It refers to permanent residency, not
Oh, permanent residency.
Yeah, that you get to pick up and move versus visiting. Visiting, you can go on vacation wherever you want, but it's
Okay.
if you move to anywhere in the United States or Mexico, you're depriving Mr. Davis, or you could deprive him of a relationship with a child by picking up and moving. So the law is that there's supposed to be a geographic restriction, and it's usually limited to the county you reside in and any counties that touch it. So that there's a little area that you can move around, so it wouldn't totally deprive him. It just
Hold on, is he in a moving car now? Also, what happened to the 5-year-old that had no other adult? Did anybody see him buckle that kid in? What's going on? Also, I want more tortillas too.
be a longer drive, but not like you can't see them anymore. So got it?
Okay.
What's,
Yeah.
I'm sure you need to re-ask the question, or she can answer a question after that explanation.
Okay, yeah, now that it was explained. So yeah, Texas is fine. I agree with that.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Could you please explain to the court why you've requested the visitation schedule that I described in my opening statement?
I want him to be supervised because of the fact that my son doesn't completely know him, doesn't know him as a father. He wasn't comfortable with me leaving him. So I want to establish him creating some type of relationship with him and getting to know him first before I would want him to spend a night.
Do you have what other concerns do you have with allowing unsupervised visitation?
The lifestyle that I previously mentioned, I know he wasn't here for it, but the drugs, the alcohol, I wouldn't want that around my son. And that's why I also want that supervised.
Could you please elaborate, ma'am? As
Yeah, bitch. Look at his face. Erica, thank you. Also, I think there's a live chase, but I'm working. We're working together to watch this case. So I will think about it later. Look at his face. He's like, alcohol and drugs? What are you talking about, lady? And thank you, Erica. I'm glad to see you. We're actually just getting going in this case, if you can believe it. I know we've already been going for 37 minutes because I don't know how to do time management. Oh.
do you believe Mr. Davis to have substance abuse problems?
Yes, from when Kiana was conceived way before, there was drugs involved, there was alcohol involved, and from my understanding, that hasn't changed since then.
Has he shown up to prior visits under the influence?
No.
Are you concerned that he will in future visits?
No, but I just want to take precaution.
Okay, ma'am. Now, you told me about an incident you described regarding a substance. Could you please elaborate on that?
Yes, before we met up in public, it was at his house. That was another visit, and it was at his house. I know his cousin was there, or whoever it was, and he was there. And me and my son went inside his residence, and on his coffee table there was a rolled up dollar bill, and it looked like it had the residue, some white. And I hurried up and I got it out of my son's hand and I handed it to Anthony. And I told him like he needed to be more careful with things he had just laying around his house.
Okay, ma'am. Now, does Mr. Davis have any other children?
Yes, he does have a son.
Thank you, ma'am. Does he?
Wait, that's not the question he asked you. He has your son, but does he have other children other than your son?
Yes, he does have another child besides my son.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Now you've requested, have you ever observed Mr. Davis when he's under the influence of alcohol or any illegal drugs?
Yes.
What's his behavior like?
He's unaware of his surroundings.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Does Mr. Davis work the same job that he worked earlier back in?
NPC, your lateness is forgiven. I hope you weren't involved in a chase. I hear there's a chase ongoing. Thank you so much, and thank you for being here. Isn't it funny how the body works? Food is hitting my receptors. I'm paying attention now. I feel bad for this guy. I think she was trying to railroad him, is the vibe I'm getting. Is anybody else getting that vibe? I really am.
2024?
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. Do you have access to private health insurance you can place the child on?
No.
Thank you. How much informal support has Mr. Davis provided you? Has he ever sent you money, purchased anything for the child?
Sent me money, yes. $100 every week. He's never bought anything for my son, no.
What's the total amount of money that he's provided you?
From the calculations that I gave you, I know it was 13,100, and I'm not sure. I forgot, but I know it was within that.
Was it $13,308.44?
Yes, correct.
Thank you, ma'am. Now, do you have any fears of violence, harassment, stalking, threats, anything of the sort from Mr. Davis or any third party?
No, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there anything else you would like this court to know?
No, sir.
Okay. I have no further questions, Your Honor. I will pass the witness.
Let me start with you, Mr. Davis. Again, you have the right of cross-examination of any witnesses. At this time, I'm gonna let you, if you have questions, you gotta ask a question, put an end to it with a question mark, let her answer it. Don't argue with her answer. Don't try to interrupt her answer, and then ask the next question. And when you talk, at some point, you'll be given your turn to reply to whatever she has said. So now's not the time to argue with her, just cross-examination. Any questions, you can do so, Mr. Davis.
Just one question. She said I had a substance abuse problem, and she came to my house and saw something that she was not okay with, a rolled up bill, she said. But was that not something that was concerning to you when we met up and you were going to leave him with me for the night?
Ooh, he finessed that into a question. I was a little worried that he wasn't gonna do it, but he did. Also, yes, Shane. I was like, oh God, it is a question. Also, the chase, inevitably, if we stop this to watch the chase will end. So I will continue with the case. Cases here, chases over there. If you head over, say hi to Mikey for me.
That was never, we discussed it, but
To be clear, unless I get a request to be the West Coast correspondent directly from Mikey, then I would probably go to the chase. But let's keep watching. That ain't happening. There are dreams. That is what dreams are made of. Hey now, hit play.
after seeing that, it was concerning.
Let me ask you this. Do you think I have a substance abuse problem?
As of now, I don't know you, but from before, it was pretty strong. And like your lifestyle, your workplace, yeah,
You would say that you were with me pretty often, right?
very often, every weekend almost.
Did you have a substance abuse problem?
Yes, I did. I shared that with you. We did that together.
Okay. And now you're okay?
Oh, I work in the medical field. I don't do none of that.
Okay. No further questions.
Ms. Escobar, you didn't admit.
Wow. Interesting. I love it, you guys. Yes, I sing a lot. Uh, it's annoying to some people, but does working in the medical field mean you can't have a substance abuse problem? I actually thought that worked opposite ways, unfortunately. Not causation, just for a variety of reasons. Like, that's like saying, oh no, I'm rich. I can't be an addict. I can afford all my drugs. Like, that's not how it works.
Didn't, I guess nobody asked you. I didn't even think to ask you, but it was real clear you pointed the finger at him, but it never occurred to you to be honest and tell me that maybe even if you weren't doing it anymore, that you did share some of that same issue with him. Didn't occur to you.
I mean, it occurred to me, but I was never asked if I was the one under the substance with him or during that time that I met him. So I didn't. I didn't answer that.
Okay, I did ask and I did recess the case to figure out how much money he gave you because you said you had at least one app that you could go back and calculate, and I made you do it because you said you didn't have the time for it. And it turned out, I mean, I remember clear, I could look at my notes. You said about 4,500 and now it turns out to be 13,000. When I said the math was more like 10,000 and it turned out to be 13,000, how do you explain the memory lapse there? Or
I didn't have the history from Cash App. I had the history from Apple Pay, but I don't keep up with that. So once I got the amount from Cash App and then I did the whole calculating with Apple Pay, then yeah, I was totally off.
Well, I know, but if he hadn't bothered to show up, I wouldn't have had anything better, and you would have pretty much lied to me about how much he actually helped you with. That's not good. Um, but
Does
honestly, you just thought it was that little. Yes, sir, Mr. Davis, you have a question or a
um
objection?
she yes she said that she got info off of her Apple Pay and her Cash App. Can I also ask if she got the other Apple Pay information because she did switch phones? So that amount that was received would also be in a different Apple Pay account. So it might perceive to be more.
Yeah, you can if now you thought of that question. It is relevant to what I was asking, so go ahead and ask specific.
Renee, did you account the other phone and other Apple Pay account that you had into the addings up of everything?
Everything transferred over. Everything was the same iCloud, so everything stayed the same. And that's why the payment history on Apple Pay is going back all the way to what I calculated.
Okay.
You told me that one of them you didn't even have access to, that it was too late or something, but you were now able to retrieve all of them, Miss Escobar?
Yeah, because he was able to give me that total amount because I no longer had Cash App. I don't have nothing to do with Cash App anymore. So he gave me the total amount on Cash App, and that's why I was able to get the other half, and then I was able to calculate the Apple Pay.
So he had records and he showed them to you, and you obviously either saw them and have to believe it or believe him if he just told you about it.
No, I believe it. I do believe it.
But he had to come forward to bring it and bring it forward.
Yeah, I asked him for it, and he did agree to tell me what the amount was.
And so it's your testimony that whatever he said earlier about having a separate account because of a different phone number, that's not necessarily the case, that you did access the account that covered the whole time period.
Yes, ma'am. Everything transferred over to my phone that I have now.
Okay. Did you have any other questions, Mr. Davis?
No further questions, Your Honor.
I remember the opening statement by the state, which was pretty clear, is like you wanted me to deny visits first time around that earlier hearing. Is that right, Ms. Escobar?
Yes.
And when I told you that was something I probably couldn't do, it was a very high burden, and maybe you need to be in a termination court if you wanted that. But even if I had to protect the child based on all the stuff you said about drugs and alcohol, that it might be supervised visits, then you did testify that you would be okay with supervision.
Yes, ma'am.
You changed your mind about denying visits, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And now, if I heard the state's opening correct this time around, you're not even asking for very long of supervised visits, just 6 of them to make sure the child gets to know him before you let the child go for overnights, but obviously with restrictions. And it would apply to both of you, alcohol and drugs, now that I've heard what you've testified to. Is that your position now, Ms. Escobar, what Mr. Asif said this time around?
Yes, ma'am.
You told me the child was 3.
Yes.
Is he in daycare or something else?
No, ma'am.
So that's why Mondays from 1 to 2 are good for you or the child?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you know?
Shouldn't any time be good for you then? If he's not in school? Shouldn't that pretty much free up your schedule? Also, he asked such a good question there. This is rare. I know, and it's ill-advised. We don't advise doing this, but he's keeping his questions brief. They are related to the case, and they're questions that should have been like that put her in a bad light. It's like, oh yeah, you're such a heavy drug addict. Were we heavy drug addicts together? Well, technically yes. Like, that's a totally different fucking thing than he's some secret drug addict and you're the perfect mother. Remember, she's asking for sole managing conservatorship, which is against the presumption in Texas. They generally go with the joint managing conservatorship unless there's a burden met, or there's domestic violence. But secondly, she's already been shown to have, let's just be generous and say, a poor memory when it comes to fucking $13,000. I gotta tell you, it's hard to believe unless she's independently wealthy. And in that case, she shouldn't be on Medicaid. But if she's independently wealthy, then possibly she wouldn't remember or know about the money. But I'm sorry, no. Believe me, when you don't have a lot of money, you know when you get money. Like, oh, whoops, that one. Funny how now that he showed that to me, I do remember.
That Mr. S. Davis's work schedule?
No, I do not.
So you have no idea if he's even available from 1 to 2 every Monday, every other Monday?
No, I do not. I wasn't told.
Okay. What other times or hours also suit you, or is that the actual only time that you could have the visit and be a supervisor for it?
It could be any other day. It doesn't necessarily have to be Monday. I do work a night shift schedule, so I'm up in the afternoon, and I just gotta be at work before 10.
What do you do for a living?
I pass medicine at a facility.
You what medicine? What do you do with medicine?
Med tech. I pass medicine.
You pass medicine. What is that? I'm not sure I know what that means. Pass, do you?
I give medicine to the elderly.
Okay, so the doctor prescribes it and your med tech that injects them or gives it to the patient.
It's mainly pills unless it has to do with insulin.
Okay.
Your Honor, I apologize. Carry on.
Did they do any lab work?
Wait, she's a former addict in charge of medicine for the elderly? And a little bit unclear on the official title. I like how she thought the judge didn't know what pass meant. So she just changed it to give. Like, she doesn't need it more simple. She wants more official. She doesn't want one of your duties.
On you before they hired you?
Yeah, I got a drug test, and we get that every year. Yes, ma'am.
So you were clean and they substance free, so they were able to hire you.
Yes.
Did you have to be honest on any piece of paper or in an interview that you did drugs in the past or not?
No.
You didn't have to tell them, they didn't ask?
From the past, no. No, it was just
So they just wanted
about
lab work, current.
the lab work and the urine sample and everything like that. Yes.
Oh, sweet judge. Sweet judge who reads the terms and conditions, and this girl who's never read her employment contract ever. No, Erica, it's probably, maybe it's not legal. I think in a position where you're in charge of distributing drugs to the infirm, I think it is actually probably appropriate. It might be one of the only positions, but I find that relevant. But a private company's vetting process, because again, in America, these are private companies. High news now. But in Canada, a lot of this is privatized, or not privatized, is public, and therefore the government is the person in charge of both the vetting of the employees at different levels. Public health authorities exist, and then, but they're also the person who's in charge of the tribunal. There's a tribunal in our province about medical workers that have been have had issues with substance abuse. There's a whole big rigmarole about it, and but her whole vibe is off. And it's not that I think she's doing anything necessarily. The vibe's off. That's what I'm saying. The vibe's off. But that doesn't mean she's bad at her job, and all of these are allegations. I'll remind anybody watching, including YouTube Daddy. Can you stop demonetizing my videos, YouTube Daddy? Everything, always lately. Every time I look, it's like yellow, 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 yellow.
Okay. I just want to make sure you didn't lie on a form or in an interview. That's what I'm trying to get at. So
Okay.
you didn't, correct? Is that what I understood? You
No,
did
I
not?
didn't.
Okay.
No.
Remind me, because this I don't remember, is
YouTube Daddy does not give reasons, MB. Then it would be easier to answer their concerns. Why I say yellow is because basically if you post a video or do a live stream, generally when you start, it's monetized, which means you might see ads on it. And then if it becomes unmonetizable for advertising, then it shows up in your studio with a yellow dollar sign instead of a green one. And if it's like, I've had like last New Year's, the New Year's shit we watched really got me. Anyway, so that's red. No, I don't think it's a potty mouth thing, Shane. Sometimes it's the fact that we watch things that have serious subject matter that isn't appropriate for some advertisers. But I think it's algorithmic. I don't really know. And I usually get them manually reviewed, but what happens is like I guarantee you that even if they're manually reviewing it, the people at YouTube aren't, no offense, but they ain't like us. They're not sitting listening through to 59 minutes into this video or what, you know what I mean? Like, it's unfortunate. I don't know what their criteria is. If they told me and I could figure it out, I would love to. But I don't, I can't figure it out.
Child's three, how long did you know Mr. Davis before, I guess, dated him before you conceived?
2019.
2019, you met? And
Yes.
when was the child born again? I forgot. 2021 maybe?
Yes, ma'am.
So y'all were together that length of time?
Yes, ma'am.
Like steady relationship, or is it off and on? Or
No, it was never a relationship. It was just a weekend fling. I'm not sure how you can call that, but it was just a weekend, every other weekend. So yeah.
so, well, I would call it a relationship, but every other weekend flings for 2 years. Is that what you're saying? That it
Yeah.
wasn't serious necessarily?
No, ma'am.
And how long did y'all partake in drugs or alcohol during the 2-year fling?
Oh, yeah, those whole 2 years.
Whole 2 years? What happened? How did it end?
I got pregnant and it
Okay.
ended.
The relationship ended because of the pregnancy?
Your Honor.
Yeah. So it
You get to tell
was,
me your story in a minute, Mr. Davis. Let me hear hers. Ms. Escobar?
I came forward to him to let him know I was pregnant. Um, he wanted an abortion and we didn't really get to talk about it. I did agree to it, but then again, I stepped away from that and I agreed to have him. I wanted to have him. And since then, it was kind of just, it was complicated. We didn't see eye to eye anymore. We didn't really talk on things, and it was hard to get in contact with him during my pregnancy. And then after my pregnancy is when he kind of came around to start asking questions and things like that.
Tell me you stopped drugs or alcohol when you found out you were pregnant.
Yes.
Okay. And y'all have not talked much since the birth, or some, but or how you said you had no relationship with him and he had no relationship with the child, but there's been a few visits, it sounded like. So how do you tell me realistic?
So it would be text every other week, but it's more of just the payment. I just ask for the payment, and that's literally just all I ask for. He sometimes can ask questions like, "Oh, how are y'all doing?"
Oh, it's so annoying when I ask him for payment. Payment? That's such a weirdly offensive term. Um, and he just bothers asking about other things about his child. Oh, Marisa, you are not being likable today. Girl. Sir, though, put your chin down, sit nicely. Also, where did your kid go? Why are you in a car now? Secondly, shut the fuck up. Stop interrupting. The judge is fucking on it. I know you don't know this, but believe me, in many other courts, your ass would be grass. You would have no recourse. Your 3-day window for appeal would have passed and it would have already happened. But this judge is extremely thorough. I've seen these cases take under 4 minutes with the right questions. I mean, again, the judge having to ask this many questions clarifying tells me that Mr. Asif over here needs to pay attention. This is what she's looking for, bro. Next time, step it up. You want to bang some of these questions out, all right?
Are things in that matter, and he would continue to say like, "Oh, I would like to see him," and sometimes we initiated it, it would happen, but for the most part, I don't know, his schedule was pretty busy, but we we weren't texting every day. It was just when the payment came up every week, then that was just it.
So you're no longer in physical contact, but you were still communicating and mainly about the money.
Yes, ma'am.
But also
Um,
unable to remember about the money. Is that what you're
I don't
about
know
to
the
tell us,
thought and it
girl?
escapes me right now. Okay, is there anything else you want to say, man?
No, ma'am.
Any other examination for Ms. Escobar, Mr. Asif?
No, Your Honor.
And any other cross-exam, Mr. Davis, of Ms. Escobar?
No,
No,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Well, that was for him, Ms. Davis. Okay, next witness, Mr. Asif.
Yes, Your Honor, I'd like to call Mr. Davis.
Okay.
Mr. Davis, could you please state your name?
Anthony Levante Davis.
Uh, are you the father of Keanu Ray Escobar?
Yes, sir.
And who is the mother of that child?
Marissa Renee Escobar.
And what's your relationship like with her?
Um, um, that's a complicated question. I would say, um, I am the father of her child, and she is the mother of mine, and we are trying to figure out a path forward to parent the child the best way.
What's your relationship like with Keanu Ray Escobar?
Um, he's okay with me when his mom is around, but he is very quick to cry when she's not, when it's just me.
How often do you see him?
Very rarely. Yeah, very rarely. Last time I've seen him was in November.
Have you expressed to Miss Escobar a desire to be more involved in the child's life?
Yes, I have.
Okay. And on these last few, on the visits that you have had, how have they been going?
I mean, the last time was the first time that I had both of my sons at the same time in the same place. Um, it just he's just very clingy to mom, and yeah, like I've told her and asked her, whether she has to be around or not. I just want him to feel comfortable and be around me, and so where she don't have to be around me.
Thank you, sir. Did I mischaracterize any of your positions in my opening statement?
I don't believe so.
Could you please explain to the court why you're requesting a joint managing conservatorship?
I want my son. I want to, and I think that's at
Hold
the end of the day,
on.
that's
Hold
all I hope
on.
for
Why
and
won't
wish
you
for with Renee
pause?
is that.
Do you see this? It's not pausing.
And
Now it's paused. First of all, this is where a lawyer would help because that question's improper ish. Like he's requesting the default. The best answer here would be, well, because there's been no finding of family violence in our past, we've never had any issue with that, and we are working towards co-parenting in the future. The presumption is that we will have a joint managing conservatorship of this child, and so that is why I'm asking for that. She has the burden to rebut that and ask for sole managing conservatorship. Texas is very, very clear on this. Texas is very serious about fathers and parents' rights. They're rarely serious about it. Once you get in front of a judge like this, there will be an order that at the minimum will include a standard possession order or a step up to that is enforceable. And it is again not really up to her and what her comfort is. Judge Webster used to talk about this all the time. I don't really give a crap about how you feel about the situation. This is about allowing a father to be with his son in a safe environment and a way for it to happen. I don't think it's helping to have mom there for them. Of course, he's not going to be able to detach and figure it out. He will eventually. And I think that this is just one of those cases where I'm thankful that Judge Madrigal is going to probably see through this and give us a good ending here, but it could have gone really bad. Really bad. Remember, she's got a poor memory about money, but that's all she talked to him about? Huh? Make that make sense. But you got it weekly and you couldn't figure it out? I mean, come on.
Um, me and his baby mother, me and his mom have, you know, become friends and been able to be co-parents. And I think that's at the end of the day, that's all I hope for and wish for with Renee is that I can actually have a relationship and not it just be about us. It just be about having a relationship with him, letting him be able to stay with me, and that be that. It just shouldn't be that much more complicated than that.
Okay, Mr. Davis, regarding the incident Ms. Escobar described with the dollar bill, could you give your side of the story?
I don't even. Couldn't even say that happened. I really don't even ever. She never asked me anything about that. She never said anything about that. I guess this is the first time that I'm hearing this.
Okay, thank you, sir. Could you please explain to the court why you're requesting the standard possession and access order?
And what is that?
The terms we discussed, the standard sort of legal default visitation schedule that the state of Texas offers.
The weekends,
Oh,
the holidays, all that stuff that they probably mentioned.
yeah. I mean, I just it shouldn't. I just feel like it shouldn't. I want it to come down to less being about the law or about the you know government says that you can watch your kid this day, and it just be about us having a relationship to where we can say, hey, can he kind of come over with me with the family, or hey, I know you do Christmas like that, have at it. So that was my whole reason around it, and me trying to figure out and understand, all the definitions of what that even means, of me being able to be on visitation, and I just want to be able to communicate and have like a proper channel of like having my child.
Thank you, thank you, sir. Are you open to a step-up plan that would, with limited visitation rights, that would ultimately result in the standard possession rights?
100%, 100%. Yeah, 100%. You said it was 6 visits and then it's back to normal.
As I understand it, those were the terms Ms. Escobar is asking for, yes.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Are you open to supervised visitation?
Yeah, who supervises?
The standard legal language would be Ms. Escobar or a competent adult of her choosing.
That's if there's been no family violence and there's going to be no fireworks between you all in a bad way that you shouldn't be around each other.
Me and Marissa have only argued through text. When we're in person, we don't have any fights with each other.
Okay.
Are you comfortable with a restriction requiring you to refrain from the consumption of alcohol or illegal drugs during visits?
Never been a problem, so it wouldn't be a problem. Doesn't even need to be stated.
Okay, thank you, sir. What do you do for work?
I run a food truck.
And how much do you make?
I make 1,000 a week before taxes.
Thank you, sir. How many other, do you have any other children?
So I have my son, and then my sister and I have guardianship of my little brother. Um, my my sister just got married, and her husband and my little brother, they're just not seeing eye to eye. So my little brother has been transitioning, moving over to my house, and me getting him into high school and things like that. So that's why I labeled him as another person or another child under my care, and I am legally a guardian of him.
Does your little brother live with you?
He's moving over here with me. We're in the process of moving everything.
Okay, thank you, sir. Now, do you have access to private health insurance you can place the child on?
Yeah, figure out a health insurance plan, and I'm gonna get Keanu on a health
Yeah.
insurance plan.
Do you have access to such a plan at this time?
I do not. I would have to get it on there, and then I would, I guess, have to go through the proper channels to change up things. I guess how that works.
Okay, thank you, sir. Now, Mr. Costas testified that your gross monthly resources were $5,200. That's based on our financial records. Are you, is your position that that number is inaccurate?
I think, yeah, I don't. I'm just, I get tips, um, but I make my salary is 50,000 a year, so I make 1,000 a week before taxes.
Okay, thank you, sir. Now, can you please explain to the court why you're requesting retroactive support be set at $5,000?
Just because we don't have, I haven't been able to calculate everything, but I know that I have been paying, and there's been times to where, whether it's been cash or whether it's been her like needing something, I've always been willing to give, and I just feel like it's only going to help us in the long run, because all that's going to do it's just going to go on the credit, and I have records of like paying, even though they say that it's a gift. Um, but yeah, I was just hoping that we can come to some kind of agreement.
Thank you, sir. How much money have you sent to Miss Escobar?
I have not even calculated it up right now. I would have to go back and look.
Do you have an estimate or an approximate figure?
Um, I don't know. I, if she's saying 13, if she's saying 13, I don't know. I would think that it was a little bit more than that, just because I would like to count see if the other phone goes into that, or the other number goes into that. So I would even think like 17, 16, something like that. But that's as far as I can say. As much as I can say about that.
Okay, thank you, sir. Do you have any fears of threats, violence, harassment, or stalking from Miss Escobar or any third party?
No, I do not.
Okay. Now, can you please explain to the court why you're requesting court costs to be waived against you?
Well, when we were having that conversation, I had just asked you if that was even possible, if I even had to pay court costs. So it wasn't necessarily me just being like,
Okay, allow me to rephrase. Are you okay with paying the court costs for this proceeding due 1 year from today? Or would you like for the court, are you requesting that the court waive that against you?
I mean, I feel like that's pretty, but I would like it to be waived if it is possible, but not if it's going to root against me, if that makes sense. It just seemed much simpler when we were having that conversation versus how you kind of worded that just now.
Okay, thank you, sir. Is there anything else that you would like the court to know?
As far as I guess that should have been a cross examination question, but as far as her saying that with the pregnancy and that I wanted the abortion, I kind of wanted to go back over to that. It wasn't that I wanted the abortion. We had both. We were laying in bed and we were talking about it, and she said that she had wanted the abortion. That I would just need to give her the money, and she agreed to it. And I sent her the money, and then I lost contact with her and wasn't even able to be there for the birth of my child. So I think that's why the relationship has gotten to where it is, because it's been hard to trust her, and it's just been a process. And now that we're obviously we're getting older, and now we have a son. None of that stuff matters. It just matters about like making sure that we can like just both be okay to raise him now and not be having to worry about stuff that doesn't matter.
Mr. Davis, when did you acquire custody over your brother?
When my mom passed, um, she labeled my sister and I as a guardian.
And when was that?
2016.
2016. Thank you, sir. Okay. Your Honor, I have no further questions for Mr. Davis. State rests subject to a closing.
Okay, Mr. Davis, for your brother, did she leave a will and put that in the will or somewhere in writing? Or how did you say?
Yes, ma'am.
Go
Yes,
ahead.
Your Honor. There is yes, there's legal documentation of that, of three guardianship members: my sister, myself, and my aunt. That's why he's able to leave and stay with me while he's still in school.
Okay, and is your aunt, that's your mother's sister, I guess?
Yes, ma'am.
Does she actually take the child often or at all?
No. It's just been my sister and myself.
How old is your sister?
She is 34, 35 actually. She just turned 35.
And then how old are you?
I'm 31.
Okay, so there's a big difference in age between
Yes.
you and your brother. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Very much so. Everybody used to
Um,
think that it was my son.
and so between you and your sister, how often were you passing him back and forth, or were you? How did that work? Now that it sounds like he's coming full time, he hasn't been there yet.
Well, yeah. So it would be like some summers. During COVID, he came and stayed with me for a little bit. And went to school during like because he was able to do school on Zoom. Weekends. Um, Sometimes I take him to basketball tournaments, just stuff like that.
Okay. Your mother passed away. Was your father involved with you or your brother?
No, ma'am.
So he's not around to
He's not in the picture at all. No, ma'am.
to to sue him for child support.
No, ma'am.
Okay. So he doesn't visit, not even that, and not around at all, you said?
No. We do have different dads.
Oh, okay.
But his dad hasn't been in the picture. Um, his dad actually his biological father actually just got diagnosed with cancer actually, but um, yeah, he hasn't been in the picture much with him.
Okay. But even if it's another gentleman and he's not been around as much either, or nobody has sued him or
No,
planning to sue
no,
him.
ma'am, he's not even. Yeah, he's not even. Yeah.
40 minutes left. Okay, I'm gonna go turn on the oven and put my enchiladas in a minute. I'm gonna go preheat the oven. What the fuck? I thought we had like 15 minutes left. God damn it.
So what you did get sued for child support for your 5-year-old?
I did.
And I don't know if you can hear me now. Maybe I should talk louder or get closer to my microphone. Um, so what kind of visitation order do you have there with your 5-year-old?
I have him whenever. Like right now, I've had him this whole week. And then
It's not a vacation week or they're back in school or something. What?
no, so his birthday is January 8th. So he fell under the like where he can go to pre-K, but he didn't really need to go to pre-K. So he's just gonna start kindergarten this year.
Okay, so he's available to come with you for a whole week and not miss school or whatever.
Yes, ma'am.
Where does he
And
reside in? Go ahead.
I'm sorry. And I said,
Go ahead.
I'll arrange like when I have to go to work, um, care for him, you know, somebody to watch him and be there with him while I'm at work.
Who do you arrange care with?
Either my first cousin, or my girlfriend.
Um, does that child, the 5-year-old, live anywhere close by, or is he far away and you don't
He,
get him?
he no he lives pretty close. He lives about um 20 minutes away, 25 minutes away.
So does your order with him say that you have the standard visits, but you don't really follow it? You do what's best for y'all's schedules, or you do follow it every other weekend and the holidays and summer times?
Yeah, we just kind of go up like just kind of go about like our schedules, and how it permits and how it helps each other. I don't really do like I haven't really celebrated Christmas. So she takes mostly Christmas.
Okay.
Um,
But
yeah, so we just have a certain arrangement and agreement.
okay, but just so you're aware, the orders that are the standard orders, especially coming out of the AG office, the ones I sign, pretty much say, and I think it's part of the standard visitation order, is that if you can agree to something else, y'all in your good judgment think there's a better plan that works for you, y'all are allowed to do that. It's if you cannot agree, this is the minimum you should have. That's the default provision that Mr. Asif referred to, so that it's there and you have something in writing that you can try to enforce
Okay.
and try to get to. So it's a lot. It's 8 pages or 10 pages worth of stuff, but it's basically every other weekend and the alternating holidays, and then those 30 days in the summer if you live close by. And there's 3 levels depending on the distance between you and the child's residence. So, I mean, it's a lot.
Right.
However, you can exercise all of it or none of it and do your own schedule. If y'all are at this point, you can do that. So I just
Right.
need you to hear that you don't have to go back to court or get this court to order something totally different, because it's a long ways between now and 18. And so if you have the
Yeah, I
standard,
know.
it's something to
I
work
know.
with. You got it?
Yeah.
And if y'all get to be better friends as far as being able to communicate and talk, that y'all can, based on your work schedules, do something different. Okay, so even if you were now to agree to what she asked for, the 6 times of supervision for at least an hour to get the child acquainted with you, what would work for you? And I don't know if Monday 1 to 2 would work or not. So tell me what you're asking for that specifically.
Um, I'm willing to accommodate. I'll make arrangements if Monday 1 to 2 works for her. We'll do Monday. We'll start off with Monday 1 to 2. Um,
What are your general hours of running a food truck? 24/7 or not? Do you have some days
well,
off?
I do try to take some days off. If I can find like good help at the time. Um, so I work sometimes 6 days a week. And sometimes I go in about 3 o'clock, um, and get off about 12 or 1. Um,
Is there a certain day that
but
you just never
yeah,
go to work? Which day would that be, or it changes?
it does change depending on, like I said, the help for that week. Um, but
Well, you
like I said, I'll make that arrangement to make an arrangement like that and to set it in stone. I'm okay with that just to get the ball moving.
okay.
So Mondays 1 to 2 is okay with me.
And you're thinking, well, you don't go to work till about 3 o'clock. Is that when you open the food truck and your best business is dinner and late night or something? Okay.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
that wouldn't
Yes,
interfere the
ma'am.
2 o'clock end time,
No, ma'am.
not even travel distance from wherever you have the
Mm,
visit with him and have to get to your truck, your food truck.
no.
Okay.
Yeah, no, ma'am. It'll be okay.
Well, I'm not gonna bust agreements, but if she agreed to 6 times of at least 1 hour each supervised and then standard, and you agreed to it, I call it a deal and I'll move on. Okay, but again, y'all can work something else out if things come up or whatever. And that's for visitation only. Any other part of the order has, you have to come back to court to change it, but visitation allows you to wiggle room to tweak it based on y'all's circumstances as the child gets older and whatever. Okay. You said you have no problem with the geographic restriction of Texas? So if she picked up and moved within Texas, you're okay with that?
Yeah, I mean, I would just like it to be like, said or just
Well, we usually
something
start
that's
with the county, the child's residence, and any county that touches that county. Texas is a big state, but
well, yeah.
did
So
you agree to it or did you not?
she had said United States at first, so I was just like, let's at least just do Texas, But uh,
Well, let me ask you this: have you been born and raised and been in this county? What county am I in? Caldwell this whole time, or are you somewhere else?
I've been in Comal and Hayes and now um, Austin, Travis.
You're okay. And do I remember right, Mr. Asif, is this the one where this is not a Caldwell residence, it's Hayes, or did I forget? Was that the other case?
No, Your Honor, Your Honor, my understanding this is a Caldwell County case.
It is, I'm sorry, I was thinking of something else for somebody else. Okay, Caldwell County. So if it was a little more wiggle room than just Caldwell and those counties that touch, but it includes Travis and any of those counties, Hayes and any of those counties, Caldwell, any of those counties that touch those, a little wider region, you'd be even okay with that?
Yes, ma'am.
The whole state?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. But if worst came to worst, Texas is better than the United States. That's why you started with that position?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Uh, Okay, labels are important and the law starts with the label of joint. And if there's something that's really gone wrong with the relationship between y'all, including family violence, that maybe we shouldn't be letting y'all communicate about with just about everything regarding the child or children. So I can rebut it. And she's asking for the label of soul. However, just because you've been the one that does everything, Ms. Escobar, you're still going to be the one that's got the primary duty for the doctors and the schools and the. You raised your hand, Mr. Asif, what?
Yes, Your Honor, if you're about to be, before you declare your order, may I make a closing statement?
I'm not even there yet. I'm
Oh, I
trying to
apologize.
figure out why she wants soul. Does she understand soul versus join? And I'm not ready to rule.
Okay, I apologize.
But I moved between parties. I'm trying to get back and forth to get the evidence I need. Ms. Escobar, just because we call you soul doesn't mean that he doesn't still have rights and you still have obligations to consult with him. And he has certain rights while he's got the child, and including even in emergencies, he can take action if he has to because it's an emergency. But all those under the state order of custody and visits, just because we call you soul doesn't mean we're changing his rights and duties. And again, as the mom, as the primary caretaker, you're still going to do a bunch of that. Hopefully you won't have to do it alone. And hopefully if it gets hard, y'all can talk about things and make joint decisions. But the way I see it is if you talk to him and he doesn't agree with you, well, something's got to happen and you have the veto power. So given that, what makes you think that the label soul is a much better deal that you're going to get than otherwise?
I'm guessing it wasn't explained to me just in the way that you just explained it to me more properly, more understanding of it. I'm okay with joint.
Well, if there's no family violence and we give him a label, but he still has the same things, sometimes it's better and it helps with bond.
The judge is a very good mediator. And the AG does suck in this case, allegedly. But the kid should not be there, Mama. Get the fuck. We can see you doing this. But the judge is on it in this case. She's really tying up these loose ends that the AG just left a gaping hole. Judge Webster would have also done the same thing, but he would have been mad as fuck about it with the AG.
Dean, and it helps with maybe settling you guys down and putting you on a better path and thinking he got denied something that, well, frankly, under our orders, it doesn't change much. Okay.
Okay.
Joint. Then what else do I need? You're not doing drugs or illegal substances yourself, Ms. Escobar, anytime your child's around, even like having parties and passing out alcohol, even if it's not drugs. You don't do that anymore?
No, ma'am.
How old are you?
I'm 27.
Okay. Nobody said it, but I guess I'm gonna ask, has anyone have arrests or convictions for drug or DWIs that you're aware of, Ms. Escobar?
No, ma'am.
And as far as Mr. Davis, you're not aware of anything on him either? Not just you, but not him either?
No.
Mhm. Well, then you got lucky. And you grew up, I hope. So that if I put the restriction on him and he says it's not a big deal because he didn't do it, and if I put it on you too, and so if you wanted to go partying and have alcohol, it has to be outside the child's presence, and you can't bring it home with you as far as being drunk or drugged. Would you have a problem with that if it's a mutual restriction?
No, no issue.
Okay. I hope you're writing all this down when I forget it and you remind me, Mr. Arcif. What else do I have? As far as meeting places for the child, including the first 6 visits and then afterwards, you had said you wanted to pick up and drop off.
Yes, ma'am.
At where? I can't read my handwriting.
Either
father's-
residence or public, it doesn't matter.
I think I wrote down his residence. That would be okay. You'd want to take the child and pick the child up from him?
Yes, ma'am. That's fine.
Normally, it would be his obligation, so he has to spend the time and the transportation, the gas money, all that, but you want to do it yourself? You're okay with flipping it for the order for indefinitely?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Pick up and drop off. At father's residence, mother's to do the picking up and dropping off. And then, as far as the hour visit, would you stay there at his house, or would you want to go somewhere else for the hour visits for the 6 times? Or maybe those should be different from the rest of the order if you're doing the picking up and dropping off?
It doesn't matter. It's whatever he's comfortable with. I'm pretty comfortable with that.
So at his house, if he's got the 5-year-old there or the 14-year-old there, it won't be a problem, I presume, since these are going to be relatives of this child.
I don't mind.
Okay. Then I'll let you in your good wisdom, if you want to go to a park for a bit or McDonald's or something, y'all can do that.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so if you're there and the child's there and you do 6 of these for at least an hour, I would think you would know that the child's going to bond with him and you're going to help the child bond with him and encourage the child gently to go with him and all that.
That's what I want to stop.
So Paisley of the past, I had been worried that I wasn't going to catch this, but that can't be right. Does that say 27 more fucking minutes? Oh my god, Judge.
Yes,
Okay, then when standard comes up and the child's clinging to you and doesn't want to go, your job is still to let him go because you're not
Yes,
telling me
ma'am.
the child's in danger with Mr. Davis, are you?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Then y'all have more common than I thought you did when I first heard this thing. Okay. Let me ask you, I'm gonna go back for Mr. Davis. Do you have anything on your background history of arrests or convictions for anything?
I do have
Even if it's old, I don't mind you being honest with me. That helps.
I do have a marijuana violation in New Braunfels from like 2017 or 2018 or something like that.
Have you dealt with it? Is it
Yes,
over?
it's been dealt with. It's over. Yeah.
You have anything else?
No, I do not.
Okay. I meant to ask you earlier and I just remembered, how much is the child support order for your 5-year-old? What does it state in the court order?
I pay $150 a week.
$150 a week?
Yes, ma'am.
That's how they did it. What county is it out of?
Travis.
So $150 a week adds up to times 52 weeks divided by 12 months. That adds up to about $650 a month. How old is that order? When did y'all get that?
About 4 years ago.
when the child was 1, you went to court that young?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
A little over 1. He's a little bit past 1 though.
okay. Um, and well, you would never be ordered to pay child support to anybody for your brother, but
No, yeah,
you
no.
don't know. I mean, you have to
He
spend
doesn't
money
get
on
child
him.
support. No, he doesn't get child support. What my mom did though, like she gets I believe a social security check that my sister um divvies out for
Okay.
him.
So if the child's gonna be living with you now, will she be handing you the check or giving you more of it anyway if the child goes back and forth on weekends?
Not necessarily, not yet because she just got married and they bought a house and because
Yeah.
her husband is from Africa, um he's not able to necessarily
Oh.
work in America yet. So
Okay,
he
I'm sorry I asked. It's not relevant to this anymore. It's just that I thought you might have a little more income to help
yeah,
you with your brother,
no,
but not
not yet.
necessarily.
Not
Okay.
yet.
Okay, well, that's between you and your sister. I'm not involved in that. Okay. I think we're kind of ready to wrap this up. So, okay, Mr. Asif, go ahead and do your closing. Well, okay, Ms. Escobar, do you have anything else you want to say before I let Mr. Asif close?
No, ma'am.
Is there anyone else you want to say, Ms. Testimony or any evidence either, Mr. Davis, that you want to provide before I'm done?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so listen carefully what Mr. Asif was asking for, which
Putting this in the
you know,
oven.
might be your request, it might not be. And then the part you don't agree with, I need to hear from you, either of you, Ms. Escobar, Ms. Davis. We're going to start with Mr. Asif, followed by Ms. Escobar, then followed by Mr. Davis. So listen carefully. So, Mr. Asif.
Yes, Your Honor. The state has
I
no
feel like I'm in
position
my
on
thumbnail
conservatorship
era.
or
Hold
possession
on.
access.
Hold on. I just want to live that dream. Made a giant whatever. I wonder if you guys can hear me because I can't see if I unmuted myself. I think I did. Oh, I did. Okay. I've lived my thumbnail era. It was so quick. Thanks for being there for it.
We're requesting this court make a ruling in the best interest of the child. On the issue of guideline child support, we're requesting a finding of Mr. Davis's gross monthly resources are $5,200, and we're requesting he be given the credit for 2 other children. Guideline support comes out to, based on that information, $658.25 per month. We're requesting that these payments begin on the 1st of February, 2025. On the issue of cash medical support, Your Honor, we're asking that Ms. Escobar be ordered to place the child on a government medical assistance program, and Mr. Davis be ordered to pay cash medical support of $234 a month, with payments to begin on February 1st, 2025. I've recalculated the retroactive support on the basis of new information that has come to my attention over the course of this hearing. I've calculated a figure of $24,152.16, subtract the informal credit, the direct payments of $13,108. The state is asking the court for a retroactive support finding of $11,044.16. We're requesting Mr. Davis pay off this balance at a rate of $106 per month, with payments to begin on February 1st, 2025.
Is that higher or lower than your original request?
That's lower than my original request.
Would you find more direct payments or when?
I recalculated on the basis of Mr. Davis's additional child, the brother. That's why I asked how long he's had custody of the brother. So I gave him, so in calculating the back pay, I gave him the additional credit for that additional child.
I get it. Thank you.
Neither party is requesting non-disclosure. And finally, the court is requesting a finding of court costs against Mr. Davis. We're requesting he be ordered to pay them. Looks like Miss Escobar has hopped off.
Oh, shoot. We're at the end here. Here she's back. Great.
Okay.
You left. You didn't miss a thing. I'm glad you came right back, Miss Escobar. Is there a battery issue, an internet issue, something else? You're muted. I need you to unmute.
I think it was a signal. Sorry.
Okay, no problem. Okay, Mr. Asif.
Yes, Your Honor. On the issue of court costs, the state is requesting Mr. Davis pay court costs due 1 year from today, on January 16th, 2026. And that will be all, Your Honor. The state rests.
Okay, Ms. Escobar, I think you heard all of it. You bleeped out on the court costs, but that's not a concern to you. So the rest of it, well, actually, the state didn't take a position on conservatorship and visitation, but if I heard right, you agreed to the joint managing conservatorship. You have primary, and the geographic restriction, I am going to put one, but if I expand it even further than just Caldwell and contiguous, that gives you a wider area. Could you live with that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so if it's Caldwell and contiguous, and I'm right here in my head, I'm not sure I can tell you all of them, but if I included additional counties and contiguous to that, and that would be based on Mr. Davis's residence, I would conclude Travis County and also, what was the other one? Comal County? Was that right, Mr. Davis?
Yeah, Comel.
Was there any other ones that you have contact with that you'd be okay if she went there?
Comel, Hayes, and Travis. Yeah.
Hayes, okay. Hayes is different because it's Caldwell and contiguous, and some of these are contiguous to Caldwell, but then there's more counties that surround them. So I'm just trying to make it a little bit wider without making it Texas. And Mom just agreed to that. So you heard those counties. You're okay, Ms. Escobar?
Yes, ma'am.
And then on the visitation, he agreed to your revised request, and the Mondays 1 to 2, I was gonna include the restriction on drugs and alcohol by mutual restriction on both of you,
Yes, ma'am.
and then change the exchanges would be mother picking up and dropping off at father's residence. And you heard the whole spiel about visitation. This is the backup provision. If you tweak it and do something slightly different, you're okay to do that if it's fully by agreement. If it's super different, I would put it in writing and maybe even file something with the court file. But, you know, just so that y'all are on the same page. But if it's
Yes,
just
ma'am.
tweaking a little bit, I don't think you need to go that far. Exchanges mother pick up at father's residence. Did I cover everything on custody and visits? Mr. Massey, if you have to draft the order anyway, let's.
Yes, Your Honor. I have some clarifying questions. So on the geographic restriction, when you expand it to include Travis, Como, and Hayes, are you also including the counties contiguous to Travis, Como?
Contiguous, yes, I am. So it'll be a wider berth and it's a lot less than Texas, but gives her a little more room for her job situation. But
Thank
it
you, Your Honor.
starts with Caldwell and contiguous, Travis and contiguous, Comal and contiguous, Hayes and contiguous. Say it that way so there's no question in interpretation.
Thank you, Your Honor. And on visitation, will the six initial visits prior to the standard possession access order, will those be supervised?
Yes, that did include mother's request for supervision, even if I didn't say it, the 6 times, the supervision, the 1 hour Mondays, from 1 to 2.
Thank you, Your Honor. And will the mutual restriction refraining from consumption of alcohol or illegal drugs, will that extend to the standard possession order as well?
Yeah,
Thank you, Your Honor.
and it extends to mom's life too, because she's gonna have this restriction as well. Okay, now those are the parts that are in agreement, I think. Well, also no non-disclosures in agreement. Mother providing government medical assistance is in agreement. What else was, I think that was it. Okay, now on the rest of it, the math on the child support, medical support, back child support, Ms. Escobar, you may have a different position from what the state just said. So what is it? What is it you're asking for on that?
I'm okay with whatever is set in stone.
Well, it's not quite set in stone. It's called a guideline and they've done some maths and then I have to approve it. But you're still wanting, even with the credit for direct payments, at least 11,000 more in back pay?
Yes, ma'am.
And now new number, we give credit for the 14-year-old. Are you okay with that now too? You were not agreeing at the beginning, but is that after hearing his testimony, are you changing your mind or not? The state said it was 658, which is kind of comparable to what he's paying for his other child, so. Yes or no?
Yes.
And the medical support, so you agree with the child support is 658. You agree that you provide the medical, the government program as medical insurance for the child? And the
Yes, ma'am.
medical support, the state said, you didn't tell me, Mr. Yes, you did. You're asking for 234, even though you know you're not getting any of that, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And tell me if that was 9% or 4.5%, Mr.
That was 4.5%.
234. Earlier you had told me it was 180. Did the math change? Yes, it changed.
So 180 is based on Mr. Davis's position that he makes gross monthly resources of $4,000.
That's right. I'm sorry. I misspoke. Okay. But you wanted the 234 based on 5,200. Okay. I think that covers that. And court cost doesn't have any bearing on you, Ms. Escobar. Anything else you think you need to tell me that you didn't agree with?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So, Mr. Davis, you heard this part. There's an agreement. I don't have to repeat it. The custody and the visits, and no non-disclosure, and mother on government insurance, and now she agrees to 658 in child support. So, what do you want to say about the child support, the medical support, and the back child support and court costs?
I mean, what can I say about it? Are they set in stone?
No, they're not set in stone. They've been proven up by the state, and it's child support is a starting number. It's called a guideline amount. Then I get to consider other things, whatever you think is relevant that costs you money. They are giving you credit for the other child. That's why it came down. So now, do you think that's the right number, or you have a different position on child support? Do you have a different position than 234 for medical, and why would that be? And then earlier you said you could do 5,000 retro. They're asking for 11,000 something. Just tell me
Yeah.
in your own
So
words why you don't think you want to agree to that.
I want to see if we can get the back pay down more. And also I was trying to figure out why it went up on the medical 234. Yeah, because
They're using
I
the
have
wages
I
they
have
calculated. That's why it's not what you asked for, but based on the 4,000 that you said
right.
versus the 5,200 that they say you're making. So what do you think
And
you could do for medical insurance, or what it would, do you think you get a better deal somewhere else, and how much would it cost?
yeah. Um, I would have to look into that. I was thinking 180 to 200.
Okay. And then child support?
And then the child support, if we can just make it the even 650, uh, that would be ideal.
Okay, and the back pay?
And the back pay, just because of the record, I would just like it to be lower than the 11, because I just think that I gave more than that, and I just want to see if we can come to an agreement on that.
There's no agreements anymore. You're trying to persuade me to make a ruling in your behalf versus their behalf versus the state's
Oh,
behalf. So
okay. Well,
you get
just
to
because
try
I
to
think that I
persuade
gave,
me. Okay, what?
well, just because I feel like I gave more than that, I would like that to go down
And what would your position be on the number now?
on 11.
Well, what are you, if you saying
You
it
said
shouldn't be
you're saying
11, what are you saying? Should it be 5 after all, or something else, or what are you saying?
yes, ma'am. I was saying 5.
You're sticking with that. Okay. Okay. And on court costs?
If I can get that wave, Judge, that would be amazing.
Okay. Anything else, Mr. Davis?
No, I think that's all.
And y'all get that no matter what you say, that whatever I do here is going to be a court order and it's a final court order. You don't get to come back to change the facts next time or do anything different. This, you have to live with it. Or if you don't agree with something, you have to appeal it and go to a higher court for that. By filing a written notice of appeal within 3 business days from the day you got the signed order that's signed by the court. You got a 3-day window to file an appeal to get it to a district court level, the elected district judges. And you have to send copies to, you file it with the district clerk's office. It has to be in writing. And you have to be specific about what you're appealing, what I did that was an error or that you believe was wrong. And then file it with the clerk's office, send copies to all the other parties. That would include the state and the other parent. And then call and get a court date within 30 days to get it heard by in front of a district judge. If you do all that, you get to start over in another court and fight about all this all over again, or whatever the things you think are an error. If it's a limited issue, you can do that too. You don't have to appeal everything. But anyway, I'm giving you a right of appeal that you have that you wouldn't know about if I didn't tell you. I'm gonna ask the state to add to the order, whatever else I do, the Children's Bill of Rights that says a few things about how parents should behave around their children, what they should say or not say around them, that's appropriate or inappropriate. Children's Bill of Rights, and then the right of your appeal rights if you think you want to appeal my decision today, because it's no longer what you agreed to, it's what I resolve by court order right now, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
So those 2 things you'll be able to add, Mr. Safe. You'll write it down.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, I'm not repeating all the things I've already said we're in agreement. Now on the contested issues, the math, or actually not the math, the financial issues, I'm gonna grant, considering the brothers there with limited to no income, I'm gonna, instead of the 658, I'm gonna do 650 to match the other child. I don't think $8 will kill anybody, but on the other hand, there's still more to resolve. 650 a month, start date being February 1st. On the medical support, since it's government aid, ma'am, if you ever get an insurance policy and it's gonna cost you more than I'm putting in the order now, you can go back to the state and bring this case back to court, and they review it every 3 years anyway. So if you're paying a bigger premium and he's making more money, maybe you can have your full reimbursement. But this money doesn't belong to you right now under this set of facts. So I am gonna grant the request for $180 in medical support to the state. Mother provides the government program, and then the
How does
last
that get paid, Judge? If you don't mind me asking.
at the end, I'm gonna tell you all the categories, add them up, so you walk out knowing exactly what you need to do, whether it's monthly or I guess who pays you. Well, it's reported wages, obviously, because you are getting paid by a check, and they are reporting it to the state. So I assume child support can come out of your paycheck. I'll explain all that in just a minute. On the issue of back pay, I'm gonna grant the request for 5,000 instead of 11,000. This guy did 13,000 minimum, and there might be some proof out there nobody was able to get today. I just don't think it's right to zap him with another 13,000 or 11,000, given that he's been around and trying to pay, even if he didn't see his kid. That's more than I usually get, Ms. Escobar, but his offer of 5,000, I think 13,000 plus 5, that's 18,000 for either a 2-year window or 3-year window. I'm not sure what it was after all, but that's significant. Did the state have any math on the rears payment for 5,000?
No, Your Honor, I apologize, I misspoke. I thought you were referring to the retro period, not to the period of time Mr. Davis was providing direct payments.
No, I was just talking in general, but I'm ordering 5,000, so I'm saying how much are you the state recommending the payment be?
Okay, based on $5,000, Your Honor, the minimum amount that would keep Mr. Davis ahead of the interest rate comes out to $75 a month.
Okay. Now, if you can afford to pay more, you want to pay more, nobody rejects money. If you're sending it to the state, whether you put it in a money order and mail it the way the order says, or you get online and there's all these online ways to pay that are more accurate, that you don't depend on the mailbox and that they get there quicker. So Mr. Davis, just so you're aware, what I'm ordering, I'll add it up for you in just a second. But every year at tax time, if you entitle any refund for your tax refund, the state can garnish it pay off the back pay that way, just so you're aware.
Right.
And if you have more and you want to pay it down quicker, you can do more than what I'm ordering.
Okay.
So, and then I am going to waive court cost. I don't, this is more than most people I see, so that he's done on his own without a court order, so I am going to waive them. So all the start dates are February 1st. It's probably pretty certain that by the time your employer gets this withholding order, that it's drafted, that I sign it, that it's in the file, that the state issues it out and sends it to the employer. That's time, and then the law gives them like a 2-week window or a period of time in which to put it into effect. So it takes a while. So the first payment that's due February 1st may not come out of your paycheck. Pay attention. If you can send money in, that's great. Don't send it through Cash App. Don't send it to any other way other than what's allowed by the AG website. They have a way to make payments, or from the court order, money order to PO Box in San Antonio. If you send it to her, you cut out the middleman, and then they're going to add what you owe, and it rolls over, and there's interest on top of that per the law. So you won't be getting credit, and it could be considered a gift. This orders you to pay it through the state registry. Got it? So start the direct payments, even if it's going to be, well, because we're not going to know about it and not give you credit for it if you send the next one the way you've been doing it. So it needs to set up right away. You can continue to do it on your own till you see it coming out of your paycheck. So the bottom line is $650 child support, $180 medical support, and retroactive child support of $75 a month. So a total of
They tried to make me pay with Cash App, but I said no, no, no. I love it. Oh my God. Also, what's the total, Judge?
Have you done that already, Mr. Asif? No.
I can crunch those numbers, Your Honor. So 650.
I get $905 a month. Double check me. And so $905 a month. You either send it once a month if you're doing it on your own. The state disperses it, or if it comes out of paycheck, it's allowed to come out prorated per paycheck. So if you get paid weekly, it comes out weekly. Just so you're aware of that number.
So it'll be 805 a week.
Well, what I'm saying, 905 a month times 12 months divided by 52 weeks, that'd be 208.85. Yeah.
So does the insurance, does that just go directly to the child support?
No, the insurance, that 180, the state keeps that as reimbursement for Medicaid money. The mom doesn't get it, and it's not child support. It's a separate category. You got child support, you got medical support. Those are separate items, and the state will disperse it like they have to.
Okay. If let's say like in the next like month or 2 months that I get him on my insurance, what happens then?
You get something that documents that, you show it to the state and have Ms. Escobar see it too, so she can use it. And then I think there's a way, the order gives you a way, it tells you in the order what to do if you get private insurance, so they can stop the 180 on their own if you're covering it. Just so you're aware. If you don't tell them and you have it, you're still paying the 180, you're double paying insurance. And unless you come back to court and you ask them to come back to court, it's not going to change. But if you prove it to the state in all the right ways, and the order tells you exactly what to do with that, if you provide insurance.
Right. Okay.
It's called medical supports, and in that section. Okay. Did I do any math wrong, Mr. Asif, or did you get the same numbers?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, I assume that I didn't do the math wrong. Okay, then that'll be the order of the court. I'm rendering the order, so it's my order. Whether you all walk away and change your agreements or don't like what I did, it's still my order. But we give you a week to the state to draft it, send it to you by email for you to review it and sign it. So if by next Thursday, I'll get it. If you haven't signed it by Wednesday or communicated with the state that there's some kind of problem they need to fix. So just be mindful. Hopefully they can draft it by today or tomorrow. And so start checking your emails for anything from Texas Office of the Attorney General, and then consider it a priority to review it and sign off on it if you can. If you totally disagree with the rulings I made and don't want to sign it, it doesn't matter to me. You wait it out a week, I'll sign it without you. But if you sign it, that means I get it quicker. It's in the court file quicker. You have any questions, Mr. Davis? Mr. Davis, you have any questions?
Um, I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so. What is the number to like contact the offices if I did have the changes? Is there like a email that?
On the email that you're gonna get that has 30 pages of this order, the last page, or not the last page, might be visitation, but the signature page has the AG and it has all the ways to contact them, email
Okay.
and phone numbers, and it's a call center, and you can start there.
Okay.
You're not gonna be able to, I don't know if you'll be able to talk to Mr. Asif or leave a message necessarily, but if you have any, oops, he's gone. Well, I've done ruling anyway. I don't think I need to wait. I think he heard what he needed to hear. So I'm going to end this hearing, Ms. Escobar. I give you a chance to ask questions. Do you have any questions, ma'am?
No, ma'am.
Okay, then that'll be the order of the court. Mr. Asif?
Yes, Your Honor, I have a clarifying question, just on
Okay.
what's the court's finding on Mr. Davis's gross monthly resources?
You can put whatever you want in there. If you, the math is that what the child support officer said, I don't have a problem with that, but
Okay.
the court did a variance based on the evidence heard in court and
Okay.
including the 14-year-old brother in his possession.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Then you can log off and I'll stop my recordings after Ms. Escobar logs off. Ms. Escobar has exited the virtual courtroom. That concludes this hearing.
What an interesting case. Please, you guys, let's remember this when the people come in and say that all the judges are man-haters, just like MB said. This is a really good example of the complete opposite. Don't lie in court. This bit her in the ass. Because the judge remembers that. Like, if she had been honest at the beginning, but she wasn't. Damn. I don't know if he knows how lucky he is. I doubt it. We do because we watch a lot of court, but the average person that goes to court one time, twice, they don't know. This is rare. This is a rare case. She deviated from almost everything, and I think it was because basically it didn't sound like a lot of what Marisa did was in good faith, you know? All lonks. Cellulite yoga pants. Thank you so much. I'm just kidding. I love you. You guys are great. I'm so glad we got through that together. I know we missed a crazy chase, but alas, maybe there's something I'll watch while I eat my enchiladas. Enchiladas. NPC, thank you so much. What a lovely way to end the night. I love lonks. We're gonna have to rename it Lonks. Can somebody post the Lonks? I love it. That's new. That's going to stick. Lonks. Yeah, I will be on tomorrow, Vicky. Thank you for asking and reminding me. Tomorrow is Thursday? Friday? MB! Tomorrow is Friday, and I'll be on late at night. And we'll have a lot of fun, and we'll maybe get a little drunk, and I don't know what else to say. Yeah, we'll be on tomorrow, Vicky. It'll be approximately 6 o'clock East. Not super late, but like 6. How's that sound? And I will try and refrain from singing. Maybe. Depends on the day. Anyways, can you guys do me a favor? Hold on while I teleport to my fire with flu powder because I am a Harry Potter lover. Anyways, I'm such a loser. Anyways, I want you to remember that I love you and I'm proud of you, and I will see you in the next video. Okay. Bye. God damn it. Bye.
Ways down and ready to ride.